Casual crabbing with Tia allows visitors and residents here in Charleston to learn how to catch fish, shrimp, and crab. Today, I talked with the founder of Casual Crabbing with Tia Clark, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Tia Clark, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thanks for having me, Quintin.
Oh, I appreciate it greatly. You needless to say, you are the founder of Casual Crabbing with Tia, an experience that allows locals and visitors to learn how to catch crab, shrimp, and fish. And of course, your Let's Go Crabbing experience is ranked among Airbnb's top 4 in the world. So tell me, Miss Tia, what's new, what's now with Casual Crabbing with Tia?
What's new and what's now? We had a little bit of cold there, we had that snow and that kind of kept us off the docks, but things are starting to pick back up again. We are about to kick off the official 6th year, so I'm like 6 years of doing this. So I'm very excited. But I've grown my crew. We are working on the Ashley River, and we're going to be working on the Kiowa River as well this year. So super excited. Since the last time I spoke to you, there's been so much that's happened. I wouldn't even know where to begin, really. But besides growing my crew, working on a second location and just trying to continue to push my mission of getting as many people as possible to the water, to help just build some more stewards and people that want to protect this natural resource.
What is the biggest difference between 6 years ago and right now when you think of Casual Crabbing with Tia?
Oh, the biggest difference. Well, I can answer that 2 ways. The biggest difference with me or the biggest difference with the business. The biggest difference with the business is that it's really out there. I'm getting people from all over the world. And, I always ask people how they find out about me. And, believe it or not, it's a ton of the news articles and the magazines. And, people really travel, not really the way you think, it's interesting to learn the way that people really travel. And some people travel because we're lucky that we get to live here and have access to fresh ingredients. I usually always talk about these people, but I have a couple that comes into town every year. So this will be their 6th year in a row. And they are the only people that I know that come to vacation in Charleston that never eat out at a restaurant. They come here because they can go to the markets and buy fresh ingredients, and they love to cook. They harvest their garden and they bring all those things here and they cook for 1 week because they have access to fresh ingredients, So I love that. I love learning how people travel. But for the business, it's really getting out there. It really is. And my conservation work that I've been doing, which has really kind of changed the way that I started working. I think when I was first talking to you and I spoke to you the first time, my mission was just to crab with anybody and everybody. I want to go crab with them, right? Like, that's what I thought. Now it's just so much more than that. Like, I want to crab with them, but I really want them to learn about this resource, find ways that they can help to protect the resource. I have joined the sustainability board with the South Carolina Aquarium, the Good Catch program. I am on the board of the Charleston Waterkeeper. I was appointed to the Marine Advisory Committee. So all of these things have happened since I last spoke to you. But the most exciting thing that has just happened is I was accepted as a member to the Explorers Club in New York City. And that is, for me, honestly, just like one of the biggest accomplishments of my career. It really is. I am beyond honored for that because I didn't even think when they asked me about it, I was like, what do I have to do with astronauts and world explorers? I really did. But, I do see and understand the place for someone like me and for what I'm doing and for what the club is doing. The club is really trying to highlight people from all over the world, from all different walks of life that are doing really cool things, So I'm very grateful for that. So I guess the biggest changes would be all of the kind of off-dock work that I'm doing, because before it was just crabbing and focusing on crabbing, but I'm really off-dock, really trying to push my mission with my conservation work and grant work. And, I'm very, very excited about it. I never even saw this. I never saw this being such a big part of the business when I was first starting it. So I love it. I mean, like I said, this thing, everything happens for a reason, and this thing was dialed up before I got in it. And I love getting up every day and just kind of seeing where it's going to lead me and who it's going to lead me to.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And congratulations to you, by the way. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. When I look around the low country here, Miss Tia, I ask myself all the time, how, with all of this growth and all of this change that is going on right now, how do you actually protect that resource, which is on the water?
Well, I mean, there are really, really good ways to do it here and easy ways. And that's why I use my platform to tell people about it. One way is buy a recreational fishing license. That money goes to help these resources, the all of the marine life that you're trying to catch, the food that you're eating, everything that money from that license really supports our estuary and our fisheries. So that's a simple way to do it. Um, excuse me, the conservation work that I do, eat oysters. So I work with the SCORE program, which is the South Carolina Oyster Recycling and Enhancement Program. They need oyster shells. So if you can't come out and volunteer, you don't have time to do those things, go to the restaurants and eat oysters. That's one way to help it. Those restaurants are recycling those oyster shells, which we then are taking, putting in manufactured wire reefs, and then lining them on our shorelines as part of a living shoreline restoration project. So, you know, go buy fishing licenses, go eat oysters, um, and follow the Department of Natural Resources because they have a ton of volunteer events. It's not just about the oysters. You can plant the Spartina seedlings, the marsh grass that we need. There are things that you can do at the Department of Natural Resources grounds. But then during the summer, you can really come out and get dirty and get in the marsh, and you can go plant those seeds. You can go deploy those reefs that are built now during the fall time. So, you know, these are things that I grew up here. I never knew this, and those programs really rely on volunteers. And so when I learned these things, I use my platform to share what I find, and I share that. And every single time I get messages from people going, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Oh, I didn't know we do that here. So for me, it's just about really getting the word out because you only know what and there's so much little things that go a long way here. Small things that just you as a citizen and part of the community can do to help out the resource, to help our community. It's just, I don't know. For me, it never clicked. And until I had my experience with the water. So that's why it's important for me to get people on the water because they don't have to go out there and catch a crab. Some people come out there, don't catch crabs, but they stand next to the water. They take deep breaths. They recall times that their grandmother and their families and things that they had when they were younger. And that right there opens them up to being a steward for our environment and for our resource. Like just them walking into that memory. Like it's not even about, like I don't have a magic wand. I just know the power of that healing space of being next to the water, and then you just keep putting people in that space and it all just builds on its own. Like, I mean, I'm not the one that's doing it. I'm just helping them get there to the water because I know the power that it has. So.
And Ms. Tia, who else are you bringing into that space when it comes to the water and that healing, opportunity that's provided to a lot of people by just going to the water itself?
Yeah, well, I'm bringing children and I'm bringing women as well too. Not to say anything about the against men, but I mean, the water it's a man-dominated world, I mean, it's been like that for some time, And when I first started doing this, almost all of my crew. What's interesting is even when I was hiring dock hands, only males were applying. Like I'm putting this thing out there that here's this world now. Come join me. Come see what I'm doing for anybody and everybody. Well, it used to be all males. Now I have more females than males working on my team. So I take pride in knowing that I've created the space that women feel comfortable coming to work on the water as well. And then kids and children. It's really, really important for me because growing up in downtown, I'm a Benya. My family was raised on Henrietta Street and I was raised in Romney Village. I mean, everything's right. Like I am right there in downtown Charleston.
Right.
Like that's where I was raised. But I didn't go to the beach until I was 17 years old. And I didn't go crabbing until 7 years ago. Like, why do I live that close to the water with no relationship with it? So it's become super important to me to make sure that if I have anything to do with it, the kids that live here will know the water and not try to tell the same story that I'm telling. Because, for one, being of Gullah Geechee descent, our culture is directly connected to this water that is surrounding us. We're eating all the food, but we don't know it. We don't have a relationship with it. So it's very important to get kids to the water. And that is, I'm actually working on a grant, doing some grant work with the SCORE program and some other local businesses where we have started for the past 2 years teaching crabbing, fishing, conservation work to Title I schools. We started in Wadmalaw with Edith Frierson Elementary. This past year, we had the kids from my alma mater from Burke High School, and those kids went crabbing, they went fishing, they built an oyster reef and deployed it right at the marina where I take people crabbing every day. And I made sure to tell those kids, like, don't let it be lost on them. Like, their kids and their kids, they'll be able to bring them back to that water. That is a reef that is staying there. You know what I mean? It's not going anywhere. We're not going to pull it up. Nobody's going to go harvest anything from it. But, they can bring their kids there and say, I had something to do with that. This is your community. Like, you want to be a part of it. People want to be a part of things. And, I really love, being a Black woman and being able to go and create this space and show people that everybody belongs on the water. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man or, what your race is. None of it matters. It's all irrelevant once you get to the water.
And Ms. Tia, now that you brought most of those people to that particular space, how has that changed your story of telling about the water?
Oh, man. Well, it's changed my story because I feel like I'm building a legacy. Like, this is my hometown. It's, I never in my life saw myself doing something this important for Charleston. Charleston's always been a big part of me, and always will be because this is where I'm born and bred from. But it has really given me a lot of pride to know that I can be that face for people that may not think that they belong on the water. That I can represent Charleston, that I can represent my Gullah Geechee culture, and my family, all of these things. It's changed everything for me. Honestly, it's changed everything. The business saved my life. And now all the things that have come from it, it has really given me a real purpose in life.
Oh, absolutely. And I know, obviously, you talked about it early in the interview with Tia, but you talk about a lot of the food that a lot of us enjoy eating here in the Low Country. So, what's that food right now that people are eating that's coming from the water?
Fish, crabs, a ton of fish. I actually got a commercial fishing license, and I've been fishing with a buddy of mine who's an amazing charter fishing captain, and we are really kind of targeting sheep's head right now. And so we're catching sheep's head, and he is selling them to the local restaurants, which is really kind of cool. Like, you can get fresh food here, but what he's doing, and I think is really cool, and which is why I've been helping him, is that there's some restaurants in town that you can go have fish at. Well, that fish was swimming 4 hours ago because we caught it and took it to that restaurant, and they're serving it to you that night. Like, I think that is so amazing. Talk about sustainability, talk about help supporting your community. Like, you can go anywhere and get these big name companies that do fish, but where do you get that experience of, going to a restaurant that has just got fish that was just caught within the last few hours? Like, there is nothing like fresh fish, like nothing like it, My family will tell you. I mean, my uncle, my aunt used to go to those big stores like Sam's and Costco and buy a bunch of frozen fish and stuff and cook it for my uncle until I started fishing and taking them fish. And now she says he won't even eat the frozen stuff. She tries to slip it in, and he says there's nothing like fresh fish, and he didn't realize how much of a difference it was in the taste. But he refuses to eat the old stuff, and it's all my fault. So now I have to keep fish coming to them. She's like, "You did this, so please keep the fish coming."
Right.
But growing up here, it was fish. It was fish, crab, shrimp. All of those things were here, and I mean, think about how naive I was eight years ago on the water when I went crabbing for the first time. I ate that food, but I was genuinely shocked. Like, knock me down a notch. That the food, that when I saw the crab and the fish coming out of the water, I was like, what? Like, how did I not connect. What do you mean? Like in my family, it was such a big deal when you had like fresh fish and crab. So I thought, oh, this is something special, not like this is something I could go walk to that little creek and catch myself. I just didn't know that. And so to be so empowered to know that the food that I'm eating is coming from the water, and to know for me that for the last year I've been cooking protein that I have caught is really, really powerful for me. I wanted to do that, but I had to buy a separate chest freezer. But with all the fishing and crabbing and stuff that I do, I realized that besides the few times that I've eaten chicken throughout the last year, I have only cooked protein that I've caught myself. It's pretty amazing.
Oh, very much so. So how much has that changed your diet and lifestyle?
Oh, it's changed tremendously. I mean, I've lost, when I first spoke with you, I had lost, I think, 120 pounds from crabbing. And, now it's just fresh seafood. I mean, it is fresh seafood, veggies. I mean, my diet is very simple right now, but it really does. It's changed the way that I see food. Like, I want to have a connection with the food that I eat. I want to feel like it not only fills my stomach, it fills my heart to know where that food came from. I didn't have that experience until I went. The first time I ever went crabbing, that is the first time that I ever caught and cooked my food, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like that was first of all, I was like, "That's the best food I've ever eaten in my entire life." Like I was like, I might be biased, but I think that's the best food I've ever eaten. But it's like that over and over again, and it's not just the food; it's the act of catching this, cooking it, feeding it to my family, and feeding it to myself that really fills me up. Like it really does. And it's like I chase that feeling. Like that is what I want to feel when I leave the table.
What else has crabbing been able to fill your heart up with?
Uh, it's filled my heart with and opened my heart up to letting more people in. I'll say that. Um, in food and beverage, I kind of closed. I had walls up and I was closing myself off. I have had some let's just say some outer body experiences with folks on the water that I never thought that I could have. I'm talking really, really powerful experiences with people that I didn't know at all. Like, I mean, I used to not even make eye contact with strangers. And now I'm having experiences where a grown man is weeping on the dock because of the experience that we're having. A kid that may have a learning disability leaves with this excitement that they go home and then write letters to me. And their family is like, I can't believe that they've asked to write a letter. They hate writing because of the struggles that they have. Like, just the connections and the bonds that I've made with people that I didn't really know. Like, I didn't know that that was possible, honestly. I thought with the walls that I had up, I thought there's no way that I could make a meaningful connection with somebody in such a short period of time. And it happens repeatedly. I mean, it just constantly happens. And it has opened me up to knocking down those walls. And for me, kind of going into this space and accepting everything that happens that day without trying to like control it or force it. And it's like, there's something special about that because you think about like, say you're just going to meet a stranger, right? You're going to meet them for coffee. Well, you're excited. You're going to go meet them. You want to probably ask them questions. Well, I go to the dock every day. I don't know who these people are. I don't know their names. I don't know where they come from. And within 20 to 30 minutes, they are like, this is the best day of my life. They're trying to give me their personal information, inviting me into their homes and where they live. And it's just like, I've never had experiences like that with people. And I thought that it wasn't possible to be genuine. I thought that sometimes people tell you what they want you to hear, and they put on all these things. But it's like to have that many genuine um, connections and with strangers is really, really powerful for me. It's changed everything. I mean, it's just changed the way I look at people.
With your experience with crabbing, Miss Tia, what else do you want to connect with when it comes to crabbing and the water?
What do I want to connect with? Well, I actually just put this in my Explorers Club, my EC50 thing, and like what I want to do is I want to see casual crabbing up and down the East Coast. Number one, but I also want to help those people in the communities on the water find ways to support their estuary, just like we do here. If it's not building oyster reefs, I guarantee there's another way to help support their resource and the marine life that's living there. Um, but I also want to empower people to catch and cook their food. Like that really, really changed me down to the core. You know, I hunted an alligator 2 years ago. I killed an American alligator and was like, I've been cooking and eating that. And like, I'm telling you, right? It's like that experience just changed everything about me. And like, I want to I want to find ways to help with it as well. So I have an idea to do a catch and cook of invasive species. So I would like to travel the world and go catch invasive species and show people in the community ways to eat them, because that'll help take care of that invasive species. You have an invasive species, one way to handle it is start eating it. But a lot of people don't they don't see it as food sometimes. And just really kind of figure out ways to help different communities by connecting with the water. That's what I want to do, and empower people. Like,
Yeah.
I want to change that. I want to change what society is kind of like embedded in us, that the only way to enjoy the water is to have a boat or to be wealthy. And it's just not true. It's just not true. And I want to teach people how to do that, how to enjoy it. And to just make sure everybody knows that nobody owns the water. We all have a right to it. We
Right.
all do. And to create a sense of belonging on the water along with the access to it. I want everybody to feel like they belong there and not feel like you don't, because that's a big thing for me, is going to the water and not feeling like you belong there because nobody looks like you, because they're only men, whatever reason you're there that you're not comfortable. I want to change that. And I want to make sure that every single person, everyone, feels like they belong on the water. Not just that they have a right, you belong there just as much as the next person does.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What seafood describes you these days?
That's a really good question. What seafood describes me these days? Man, that's a good one. Um, I don't know. I guess they say you are what you eat, so it'd be fish because I'm catching a lot of fish right now. I love to fish. I really do. Like I really do. I love to fish, but I realize that I love to hunt. So if we say seafood, I would just say like maybe it isn't seafood. I wonder what I'm connecting with. Um, I'd probably be something in the woods, honestly, because of just the exploring and kind of being like that loner and just losing themselves in nature. That would be more me. Like that's what I'm doing now. I'm losing myself in nature. So I would probably compare myself to something that gets to explore the woods and just get lost in it.
Get locked in it. Wow.
Mhm.
With your experience and resources, what else do you want to explore when it comes to nature?
Oh, everything. I want to go around the world. I want to catch everything I can. I literally like, there's so many different species of crabs,
Yeah.
like that was one of the first things that I wanted to do. I wanted to go around and catch all these different species of crabs and learn more about them, because I really enjoyed learning about blue crabs when I first started catching it.
Mm.
Because for me, that's what it is. That's what it's really about. And I didn't even know that at first. It's not about the catching. It's about learning about this thing while I'm catching it. And using the alligator, for example, I went on that first hunt thinking, okay, I'm going to kill this alligator. No, it was 13 hours in the swamp chasing these things and learning that they stay underwater for a certain amount of time and they're very territorial, and learning hunting. Anybody can get in the stand with a rifle and try to shoot something. I try to go bow hunting because it's harder, because it's not about killing the animal. It's about, for me, it's about learning about the animal. And the hunt teaches me so much about whatever I'm going after, whether it be fish, crab, deer, hogs, whatever it is. So for me, that would be it for me. Be in the woods hunting. Um, and I never would think I would describe myself as liking anything like that before grabbing. I was so like anti, like Before crabbing, I didn't even want to go outside. Like, I mean, I was like working all night. Like, I didn't want to go outside. And now I'm just like, I want to be lost in nature or the water. It is the happiest place for me. It really is. Opens my heart up. So
Wow, really amazing. Well, Tia Clark with Casual Crabbing with Tia, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close Ups.
thank you so much, Quinn. It's always a pleasure speaking with you.
Likewise.